what are some of the little bits of advice that you can give when you're at the conceptual idea? You've got a great idea, and you're like, can this thing ever be turned into a feature film? So maybe just give us a couple little stories of what you guys did just to rally the troops, to get a little bit of the budget together, and to get the wheels turning. I'll start with you, Rob.
Well, as a writer from a conceptual standpoint, what I did was, I knew I had a certain story I wanted to tell, so I looked at it, what do I have access to? I knew I would have access to a call center. I just didn't know if the bosses would let me, because that's where I work. I've been there for 12 years working at one. So I went to them and said, look, I wrote a movie, and after everyone stopped laughing, they said, what do you want to do with that? I said, I'd like to shoot it here. And the manager said, well, you know what, we're for Fortune 500 companies, so well, Tom Cruise shot a movie at our headquarters in Toronto, so as far as I'm concerned, we can do it too. And he gave us full permission to shoot there at night, and we did. And it was great security. We come in and be like, what the hell's going on here? And they literally were looking at us like they're filming something and they're throwing stuff, and I don't know if they're supposed to be here. But the advice part of that is, I wrote what I had access to. You've seen the movie, so everything that was in the flick, we knew we could get. There was only one thing we ended up not being able to get, we just rewrote the scene, and it turned out to be a better scene. And then when it came time to getting out there and rallying the troops, all we did, because we didn't show them the footage a lot, we kind of kept it to ourselves. It was just, we wanted to surprise everyone. We just kept telling them, wait till you see the scene cut, because we literally would be cutting it as we went. And that's what we had to do. But the most important thing, and I realize this very often, and I'm going to tell this because you had asked me to, I named my production company Red and Laugh Productions. When I first started telling people, they started laughing, and the biggest thing I heard was, you can't do that. You're from St. John, you can't do that. So, pardon my French, I said, fuck you, I can't do it. And I just felt let them laugh because I'm going to do it anyway, so laugh all you want. We're doing it, and we did it, and a lot of those people aren't laughing anymore. They're sending me messages going, hey, you actually did it. What are you doing now? And it's really funny how that works. So my advice is, what I did was I removed the no you can't people, and I surrounded myself with people who, yeah, we can do it. And that's what we did. Everyone that was on that film, from crew to extras to these guys there was never any we can't do that. It was just, well, yeah, we can do that. Surround yourself with the right people who aren't going to say you can't, and you'll be doing something with this. That's my advice.
That's a great takeaway, Rob. And so the two takeaways from what you just said for me are surround yourself by the supportive people. And thankfully, we do have the film co-op and just a great supportive team here in New Brunswick. So you can check that off. And the other thing was writing to what you have available, because I think a lot of independent film writers and directors will write something epic and won't be able to shoot and will be disappointed. So I think that's a great lesson. Thanks for that, Robert. What about you, Derek?
I honestly wouldn't have got involved in this project in the first place if these guys didn't have all that stuff on lockdown. I made very careful decision in looking at what they came to the table with, because from being involved in projects, I know that it's a task. It's like doing renovations. It's way more than we ever would think it would be. So I looked over the resources he had, and I read the script, and just from there I was able to draw, and from Julius, from there I was able to draw the conclusion that everything that he's talking about that he wants to do for us, we can do. So I guess I would just say, anything before you get into, take a serious look at and see if you can connect the dots.
Just to expand on Rob, again, never let anyone tell you what you can't do. I've gone through a lot of things through my life, and everyone has said, no, you can't do that, why would you bother trying? And for me to leave my home in Winnipeg all those years ago, and to be sitting up here, and everything that has gone on in my life, because I've set my goals to keep moving forward and to do what my heart tells me to do. It's an honor to be sitting here. And Rob, that day you told me at jiu-jitsu class that you had that script, it was more of a shock that someone had sat down and took the time to write a script. And second of all, it was kind of an honor for me to be one of the first people for you to go, hey, can we do this? And from that day on, pretty much the rest is history.
I think for me, it's, like I would say learn how to use a camera. Like be self-sufficient, shoot everything on your own if you can, because there's going to be days where if it's volunteer crew, they're not going to show up some days. So, for me, I shot the film, I directed it and produced it, so if there's something, really all I needed was a sound guy. So as long as I had someone that could hold the boom, we got away with it that way. And and with technology, like cameras are getting cheaper by the minute really. And we shot on the Canon 7D, so that for us was able to, keep costs really low and still get a good looking product out of it, which probably you couldn't get 5 years ago because you'd have to shoot on 16mm or even 10 years ago. So I think so basically just pick up a camera, learn kind of framing and shooting on your own, and that's probably the best. Just do it, man.
Yeah, I don't like those Canon 7Ds and all that, just because I wish they had existed 10 years ago or so. There's so many times where I would just be trying to make a movie and I'd be like, oh, I just wish there was some kind of like DSLR that shot video. But, so you'd end up using mini DV and use Super 8 as well. Because, I don't know, my attitude towards it was that you can't, you kind of can't really do that stuff, but in my opinion, but you just kind of do it anyway, I suppose. For me, I remember my earliest experience with that was my father had bought a video camera and recorded on VHS, and I basically said, hey, we could make our own movie because we've got a camera. And I was discouraged by one of his friends saying, no, you can't do that. Or I was like, well, why not? Like, you just record and you just shoot that guy's line and you shoot that guy's line. For me, I'm a little bit self-taught in a way, just because like when I was a kid, I would okay, let's get my brothers here, and okay, you say this line, you say this line, and then later you start realizing, because my dad bought a second VCR, and then you start realizing, you can shoot things out of sequence, and then you can edit it later, or things like that, and then you start experimenting with special effects and what works and what doesn't work, and you watch how people react to it. Sometimes, like at times where I watch movies with people and people are just like, you're like, this is really boring.